If you live outside Melbourne or any other capital city in Australia, your chances of surviving cancer are considerably worse than your city counterparts. That situation will hopefully change when a network of new treatment centres are built around the country, as Cheryl Hall reports.
Lucas Ellis has been a sole parent since losing his wife to cervical cancer nearly 2 years ago.
It was very quick and sudden from diagnosis through to Melissa passing. A lot happened in a short amount of time. A lot of questions still unanswered.
Melissa Ellis was only 34 years old. Her cancer was so advanced when it was found, she died just 3 months later.
Returning from a family holiday in Queensland, Melissa felt generally unwell, very tired, and started hemorrhaging. And that was basically the first signs of anything wrong. Then we proceeded down to the Ballarat-based hospital and then off to Melbourne for the initial diagnosis only a week later.
Melissa's ordeal and that of her family was made even worse by distance. She had to travel from Ballarat to Melbourne's Monash Medical Centre, leaving behind her children, 14-year-old Taylor and 6-year-old Hudson.
Yeah, so it placed an enormous amount of stress on Melissa to know that her children were 2.5 hours away. Yes, Taylor and Hudson came down whenever they possibly could. I brought them down for the night occasionally and on the weekends, as every mother wants her children within arm's reach.
That's why Ballarat is one of the first of 24 regional cancer centres being built by the federal and state governments around Australia.
The lack of cancer services in regional centres like Ballarat has created the deeply disturbing situation that in some cases your chance of surviving cancer is as much to do with your postcode as anything else. People living with cancer in rural and regional areas have much poorer survival rates than those of us living in major metropolitan centres.
At the moment, the Ballarat-based hospital has access to only one linear accelerator used for radiotherapy. It services an area that stretches to the South Australian border.
We service the Grampians region, which is a population of around about 250,000 people. However, we're certainly seeing a significant influx of patients from outside Ballarat and also outside the Grampians region.
By 2013, the hospital will have access to up to 4 linear accelerators, a move which will hopefully increase the survival rates of cancer patients in regional areas.
Patients, when you tell them that they might need to take a 3-hour trip to access treatment, they're clearly going to have a think about that. Particularly for patients who are farmers, they can't leave the farm for any great length of time. It severely impacts upon their income and their ability to maintain their farm or their businesses. Obviously, when someone who we think would have a good chance of responding well to treatment declines therapy, we don't feel particularly good about that.
Cancer services will also be increased in 3 other Victorian centres, Traralgon, Geelong and Albury-Wodonga. It's what Lucas Ellis has been campaigning for since his wife died.
Having her close to family, friends and foremost Taylor and Hudson would have made a huge difference. It really put a lot of stress on Melissa.
In the last months of her life, Melissa Ellis wanted to raise awareness of the need for women to have regular pap smears for early detection of cervical cancer.
Melissa was quite upset that she struggled to find information on cervical cancer. So she wanted to change that and get it out there as much as she possibly could.
But now, as the 2-year anniversary of Melissa's death approaches, it's his remaining family he's most concerned about.
They say it gets easier, but personally I've found it a little bit tougher, and I think these two have as well. The 3 of us are very close and we stick together. But